The Alchemist's Drowsy Hour, Part 1/5. Soft, slow voice, barely above a whisper. Shh. Take a slow, easy breath in, and a long, unhurried breath out. Feel the air drift softly through your lungs like a cool wind gliding through a quiet stone corridor. Allow your shoulders to loosen, your hands to rest gently by your side, and your eyelids to grow just a little heavier. You are safe here. There is nothing you must do. Nowhere you need to be, except here, floating within the sound of my voice. Let your thoughts soften, like parchment curling near a candle's flame. And as you breathe, imagine yourself standing before an old wooden door, its surface warm with age, its hinges creaking softly, like a sigh from another time. When you push it open, a golden light spills through the cracks, and the gentle scent of lavender and beeswax greets you. This is where our story begins. Our story today begins in the quiet heart of a medieval village, a place where night settles like velvet over rooftops, and the air hums faintly with the scent of damp earth and rosemary smoke. In a small stone chamber at the edge of the village square, an old alchemist works by candlelight. His name has been forgotten by most. Some call him Master Aurelien, others simply the man who makes dreams glow. The hour is late, perhaps midnight, or something softer, a time when even the stars seem to yawn. The hearth crackles in the corner, its embers breathing tiny sighs of orange and gold. The alchemist stirs a copper pot resting over the flame, and with each slow turn of the spoon, the liquid inside ripples like liquid amber. He whispers an old phrase under his breath, not a spell, not truly, but a fragment of a prayer once written in the margins of a medieval herbal book. Lavandula for calm, honey for the heart, moonlight for the soul. In medieval times, alchemists often believed that metal, herb, and spirit were reflections of one another, that to purify gold was to purify the self. But tonight Aurelien seeks no gold. He seeks only peace. His fingers tremble slightly as he lifts a sprig of lavender, its dried petals soft as dust. He crumbles it gently between thumb and forefinger, letting it fall into the copper pot. The scent blooms, rich and floral, swirling with the faint sweetness of honey melting nearby. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the quiet hiss as droplets meet the surface of warm metal. Each one whispers its way into the air, a sleepy, rhythmic sound. Hiss, pause, hiss. The kind of sound that could make a weary traveler close their eyes and drift. The alchemist's workshop is filled with strange, comforting clutter. Shelves lined with glass bottles of every hue, amber, cobalt, forest green. Each one catches the candlelight and throws it back in soft reflections, like sunlight on water. A parchment lies open on his desk, its edges curled, its ink faded. It tells of old remedies and charms once used to calm a restless mind, mixtures of valerian root and rose oil, of honey stirred beneath the full moon. The old man reads slowly, his lips moving soundlessly. Outside, the wind sighs against the shutters, carrying the murmur of leaves. That gentle rustle you might hear while falling asleep beneath an open window. He pauses to stretch, his back creaking like old wood. He gazes toward the small round window, where the moon hangs low and full, its light falling across his table in a silver thread. He smiles faintly. He has spent his life chasing the shimmer of gold, through dust, through smoke, through disappointment. But here, in this quiet hour, he realizes that gold was never meant to be found in stone. It was meant to be seen, in the way light glows on honey, in the flicker of a candle, in the peace that comes when everything else has gone still. As you breathe in now, imagine that faint scent of lavender filling your chest. And as you breathe out, feel any last tension melting away. The alchemist moves to a wooden shelf, picking up a small glass vial. It's smooth and cool to the touch, its neck wrapped with a thread of gold wire, a tiny, unnecessary detail, but one he enjoys for beauty's sake. He pours the shimmering mixture from the copper pot into the vial, listening to the drip, drip, drip. Each sound seems to echo softly in the air, measured and patient. When the vial is full, he corks it gently and holds it up to the moonlight. Inside, the liquid glows faintly, a delicate silver hue, like morning mist caught in glass. He whispers again, not gold, but grace. Then he sets the vial upon the windowsill, where the night air can cool it. He leans on his staff, breathing deeply. There's a peace in the air, that soft, rare kind of silence you can almost hear. Beyond the walls, the village sleeps. Bakers, shepherds, knights, and dreamers alike. A dog barks once, then settles again. Somewhere far off, a church bell marks the hour, its tone soft, almost apologetic. The alchemist closes his eyes. He can feel the slow rhythm of his breath, the warmth of the fire, the cool kiss of moonlight against his cheek. In his heart something loosens, something old and weary and searching. He thinks of all the potions he once brewed to change the world, and how none could change the quiet truth of being human, that peace is not created, but remembered. He takes one last look at the glowing vial. It will rest there till morning, when he will gift it not to kings or nobles, but to the healer's apprentice who comes each dawn to fetch herbs. For she, with her gentle heart and tired eyes, is the one who needs it most. And as he turns back toward his bed of wool and linen, the candlelight trembles, the shadows lengthen, and the room grows soft with sleep. Pause, voice fades to a whisper. And you, dear listener, can rest here a while longer? In the glow of that tiny chamber, listening to the alchemist breathe, watching the silver light spill across the floor. Let it cradle you, let it soften you. And when you're ready, let your eyes drift close too. Before you fall further into rest, take one more soft, deep breath in, and let it go, gently, like sand slipping through an hourglass. Feel your body settle a little heavier into the mattress beneath you. Your limbs are warm. Your chest rises and falls with an easy rhythm. Your mind floats, halfway between thought and dream. Listen, can you hear it? The faint crackle of the alchemist's hearth. The quiet rustle of his robe as he moves. Each sound grows fainter, as if the night itself is tucking the world under a blanket of peace. Our story continues in that same stone chamber where the last candle flickers low, its flame bending in a sleepy dance. The air is full of soft, mingling scents, lavender, beeswax, and something faintly metallic, like rain on old iron. It is the perfume of time, of patient hands that have touched copper and glass for many, many years. Aurélien moves toward his writing desk, a heavy slab of oak carved with faint symbols of the sun and stars. He opens a leather-bound journal, its pages filled with sketches of celestial bodies, measurements of moon phases, and small, uneven notes written in faded ink. He dips his quill and writes tonight's entry with slow precision. The heart finds gold when the hand lets go of it. The feather moves smoothly across the page, its tip whispering against parchment. Outside, the wind shifts, a colder breeze now, carrying the distant scent of pine. It threads its way through a tiny gap in the shutters, and the candle flickers again. He smiles faintly, murmuring, "Even the night wishes to speak." In the medieval world, many believed the night had spirits, that wind, fire, and water each carried a consciousness, a whisper of divine breath. And so Aurélien listens. He leans close to the window, and for a long, still moment, he simply hears the rhythm of the wind against stone, soft, slow, persistent. It sounds almost like words if one listens gently enough. He imagines the wind saying, "Rest now, old one. The world no longer asks for your searching." He nods as if in reply and closes the journal. The quill rests across the page, a fragile bridge between thoughts. He takes a seat beside the fire, a small wooden chair polished by time. The cushion sighs softly under his weight. He looks toward a shelf above the hearth, where dozens of vials line up like tiny sentinels, each filled with something mysterious, crushed herbs, fragments of crystal, a single drop of rainwater caught during an eclipse. He picks one up at random, a vial of translucent green, its label faded to nothing. When he swirls it, the liquid catches light and turns to gold, just for a heartbeat. He chuckles quietly to himself, the sound rough and warm. "Gold again," he says softly. Always gold. Then, with deliberate care, he sets it back upon the shelf. As the fire burns lower, its crackling slows to a lazy pop, and the room fills with the kind of hush that feels alive, like silence that listens back. The alchemist leans back, his eyes half closed. In his mind, memories drift like motes of dust floating in a sunbeam. He remembers his youth, the grand halls of the royal court, where he once presented a tincture that could turn dull metal the color of sunlight. The courtiers gasped, the king smiled faintly, but Aurélien remembered none of their faces, only the sound of the liquid pouring, the way it shimmered as it cooled. That, he realized, was the moment he first began to love stillness more than praise. He also remembers a garden, a monastery garden, years later, where he walked among lavender hedges with a kind old monk who taught him the secret of calm. Not a potion. Not a charm. Just the practice of stirring slowly, of breathing with intention, of listening to the rhythm of the body and the world. The monk's words echo even now. To make gold of the soul, one must melt the noise away. And so in this quiet hour, the alchemist sits melting his noise away, letting thoughts dissolve like sugar in warm tea. Outside, a light drizzle begins to fall. The rain touches the stone roof in gentle, uneven patterns, like fingertips drumming lightly on silk. Each droplet seems to echo through the walls, a lullaby of water and time. You can almost hear it too, that steady rhythm of soft rain, falling on cobblestone, on ivy leaves, on the alchemist's windowpane. He listens with a kind of reverence, his eyelids fluttering shut. The rain always made him feel less alone. Each droplet, he once told a friend, was a note from the sky, and when played together, they formed the oldest song in the world. He hums along now, a low, tuneless murmur, as if matching his breath to the weather. The melody is so soft you might not notice it at first. Just a vibration in the air, barely sound, mostly warmth. Time passes unnoticed. The candles grow smaller, the shadows taller, and as you listen, you may feel the same stillness settling over you, the soft pulse of a world winding down. Your breathing and the alchemist's breathing seem to move in harmony now. Each inhale, each exhale, is a shared rhythm, a shared peace. The room glows faintly, lit by only the last ember and the round, gentle moon. The glass vial on the windowsill still shimmers, the lavender-honey mixture cooling, thickening slowly under the night's breath. Tiny wisps of silver light curl within it, as though moonbeams themselves have chosen to rest inside. The alchemist rises once more, his movements slower now, like a man made of dream and smoke. He crosses to the vial, touches it lightly, and feels the faint warmth still radiating from the glass. He whispers, "The world holds more light when we stop seeking it." And with that, he blows out the last candle. Darkness falls softly, not as a void, but as a blanket, a velvet hush wrapping around him. And around you too. The crackle of the dying fire, the patter of rain, the sigh of wind against stone, they all begin to blend into one gentle hum, the hum of a world at rest. You may imagine it now, yourself seated in that same room, a mug of warm honeyed milk in your hands, listening to the alchemist's slow, rhythmic breathing. Your eyes begin to close, not out of weariness, but because peace is too sweet to keep them open. Soft whisper, the night deepens, and the story too will deepen. But for now, just breathe. You're safe here, among candlelight, lavender, and the tender hush of rain. Take one more slow breath in. And as you exhale, imagine releasing every small worry still clinging to your mind. Let them float away like ash rising from a fading fire. You are here, safe in the stillness of an ancient room where even time has begun to yawn. When the candlelight vanished, the alchemist did not move. He simply sat in the gentle dark, eyes open yet unseen, listening to the room breathe around him. He could hear the faint whisper of the fire's last coal, the delicate sigh of glass cooling on the sill, and far away, perhaps beyond the hills, the faintest hoot of an owl. Owls, in the Middle Ages, were thought to be keepers of secret knowledge, creatures who saw truths hidden from men. To Aurelien, they were simply friends of silence. He murmured a greeting under his breath, "Good evening, keeper of shadows." And in the darkness, the owl seemed to answer, a soft, lilting hoot, then another, fading like a lullaby. The sound seemed to stroke the air itself, gentle and rhythmic, and soon Aurelien's heartbeat slowed to match it. He leaned back against the wooden chair, its frame creaking softly, and felt the cool air drift across his face. His eyes, though half closed, still glimmered faintly in the starlight filtering through the shutters. Outside, the rain had ceased. In its place came the delicate hush that follows a storm, when every leaf holds a droplet, and the world smells of renewal. That scent slipped through the window, wet earth, pine sap, and the faint sweetness of honey still steaming in the vial. He could almost taste it, the mix of warmth and freshness, old and new. He whispered again, half to himself, "Even the air remembers what it touches." Then, with slow, careful movements, he stood and crossed to a small chest at the foot of his bed. The hinges groaned softly as he lifted the lid. Inside lay objects from a lifetime of work. Tiny scrolls tied with thread, a compass once used to chart stars, a lock of faded ribbon that once bound a letter from a friend now gone. He touched each one gently, like a priest handling relics. Among them, he found a small wooden box, carved with the symbol of a sun half hidden by clouds. It was his earliest creation, a trinket box he had made as an apprentice, before he'd ever learned the word alchemy. He opened it now, and inside was something simple, almost childlike, a tiny fragment of amber with an insect trapped within, perfectly preserved. The candlelight was gone, but the moonlight was enough. The amber glowed faintly, as if holding a piece of sunlight from another age. Stall on a rain-washed street. The merchant had told him, "This is the blood of ancient trees, the memory of forests long asleep." Aurelien had laughed then. But tonight, as he gazed at it, he felt a quiet truth in those words. Perhaps everything in the world was a memory dreaming itself alive again. He set the amber fragment beside the cooling wheel, the two glowing objects sharing a silent communion of light. One was nature's patience, the other, human searching. Together, they were peace. Now, imagine yourself in that room, your feet bare against the smooth, cool floor. The stone is old but kind, its chill softened by years of warmth and breath and fire. You move closer to the window, where the moon rests low in the sky, a pale coin on a sea of deep blue. You can see your reflection faintly in the glass, and behind it, the silver glimmer of the potion. The scent of lavender and honey still lingers, soft and drowsy, wrapping the senses in silk. You breathe it in, slow, deep grounding. You feel your pulse slow, your thoughts turning liquid, smooth, and golden, like the mixture itself. The alchemist's footsteps approach, bare and soft. He joins you by the window, though he does not speak at first. His face is lined and gentle, his beard silver as the moonlight itself. When he does speak, his voice is warm, the kind of voice that has learned how to rest. "Do you know," he says quietly, "that honey was once thought to preserve the soul? The ancients used it not only for sweetness, but to protect what they loved from time. Perhaps that is what I've been doing all along, trying to preserve what cannot be kept." He turns the vial slowly in his hands, and the silver light moves like a tiny tide. "In my youth," he continues, "I searched for transformation, lead into gold, pain into power, life into something endless. But now I see, all things wish simply to rest." He smiles, eyes half closed. "And rest too is its own kind of alchemy." He places the vial gently back on the sill. Outside, the clouds drift apart, and the stars reveal themselves one by one. Faint sparks, some steady, some flickering like candle flames. He begins to hum again, a soft, circular melody, reminiscent of a medieval psalm. It has no clear beginning, no end. It just moves round and round, like a wheel, like the moon's patient journey through the sky. You listen, and the longer you listen, the quieter your thoughts become. That's how hypnotic stories work. You realize, not through meaning, but through rhythm, through the gentle turning of words until your mind finds its way inward, towards stillness. The alchemist hums, you breathe. The world hums with you both. After a while, he speaks once more. "Perhaps," he says softly, "the real philosopher's stone was never meant to change metal. Perhaps it was meant to change us, to turn our fear to peace, our noise to silence, our restlessness to wonder." He gazes into the vial again, where the moonlight now dances faintly, and he nods as though hearing a reply. "Peace is the purest element," he whispers. "Nothing more precious exists." He closes his eyes, and for a long time there is only breath. The rhythm of his breath and yours. The quiet ticking of unseen stars. The hush that lingers after wisdom is spoken. You can feel that hush now, seeping into your skin, into your heartbeat, into the soft edges of your dreams. Every part of you loosens, your neck, your shoulders, your hands, your thoughts. It's as though you too are made of lavender and honey, melting gently into stillness. Outside, the owl calls once more, then falls silent. Aurelien nods in respect, then returns to his chair. He will sleep soon, not because he must, but because the world itself has finally grown calm enough to rest with him. Whispering, the room sighs. And the listener, you sighs with it. Each breath is a wave against the shore of dream. Each exhale carries you further into quiet. Take a deep, gentle breath in, and as you exhale, imagine that breath turning into mist, slipping into the air around you, joining the hush of the night. You are no longer just listening. You are inside the story now. The air is cool. The scent of lavender still lingers. The fire has fallen to embers, but one last curl of smoke drifts upward, spiraling softly, as if reluctant to let go. In his chair, the alchemist drifts near the edge of sleep. His hands rest loosely in his lap, his fingers still faintly stained with the shimmer of gold dust. Behind his eyelids, dreams begin to gather, not sharp or bright, but soft and hazy, like candlelight reflected on water. He finds himself walking through the forest outside the village, a forest he has not visited in many years. The moonlight paints the leaves in silver, and the ground hums faintly beneath his steps. In the Middle Ages, people believed the woods were alive, not merely with animals, but with spirits of growth and decay, keepers of balance. To step into the forest at night was to step into a realm where even silence was awake. And so it feels now. The night breathes. The trees lean close. Every sound seems to listen back. The alchemist's robes whisper as he walks, soft folds brushing against ferns, his boots pressing into moss so thick it sighs beneath him. Somewhere far off, a brook murmurs gently. The sound pulls him forward, guiding him as dreams often do, with no reason, only rhythm. He reaches the brook and kneels beside it. The water is dark, but moonlight dances across its ripples like threads of silver. He dips his hand into the stream, and the cold makes him shiver, not unpleasantly, but with the kind of shock that wakes something deeper inside. He sees his reflection there, older, softer, his face illuminated by moonlight. For a moment, the lines and years seem to fade, and he looks as he did long ago when curiosity was all he knew. He cups the water in his palms and lets it trickle through his fingers. It feels pure, alive, and as it slips away, it leaves warmth behind. He whispers, half dreaming, "Everything passes, but nothing is lost." The brook seems to answer, its gentle babble swelling for a heartbeat, then quieting again. He breathes in the scent of damp moss, of earth and stone. The forest hums around him, and he realizes the hum matches the pitch of his own breathing. He is no longer separate from the night. He is the night. Slowly he rises and continues walking. The forest opens into a clearing, a wide circle of grass bathed in moonlight. At its center stands a great oak, its trunk massive, its branches sprawling like the arms of an old friend. It's the same oak that once shaded him as a boy, when he first dreamed of turning lead to gold. And now, here it stands again, unchanged, patient, waiting. He approaches it and places his hand upon the bark. The surface is rough, but beneath it he feels something pulsing, slow and steady, like a heartbeat deep within the wood. He smiles faintly. "So you remember me," he whispers. In medieval lore, people often believed great trees carried memory, that the oldest oaks held the breath of those who once stood beneath them. The alchemist feels this now, as if the tree itself exhales around him, enfolding him in invisible arms. He closes his eyes and listens. And in the hush, he hears a voice, soft, like leaves rustling in distant wind. It says only this: "You have already made gold, Aurelin." "You just called it peace." His eyes fill, though no tears fall. He presses his forehead gently to the bark, breathing in the scent of sap and moonlight. When he opens his eyes, the clearing begins to fade, the moon dissolving, the trees blurring. The dream folds in on itself like parchment closing, and then he is back in his chamber once more. The fire is cold. The vial still glows faintly on the sill. Dawn is coming. You can feel it, that thin gray light creeping around the edges of the world. He rises from the chair, his joints protesting softly, and walks to the window. The rain has left tiny beads on the glass, and beyond them the sky is pale and tender, the color of dove's wings. Somewhere far off a rooster calls. The village is waking. He smiles, though it feels different now, not weary but full. He takes the vial in his hands. The potion inside has cooled completely, its shimmer subdued, but still alive, like starlight sleeping in water. He lifts the cork and breathes in deeply. A scent is sweet and grounding, lavender, honey, and something softer, indefinable. It smells like home. Then, with great care, he pours a single drop onto his fingertip. He touches it to his lips. Warmth spreads instantly, not physical, but inward, like a sigh that begins in the heart and ripples outward. He closes his eyes. A hush envelops him, thicker than silence, sweeter than gold. And for the first time in many years, he feels no desire to change anything at all. Outside, the sun begins to rise. It's not the blinding gold of noon, but the soft gold of morning, the kind that seems to hum, the kind that paints the world gently awake. The alchemist stands by the window, the light falling across his face, and for a fleeting moment, he appears ageless, a man made of dawn and memory. He whispers a final line into the air, as if blessing the world itself. May every restless heart remember its own quiet. The words linger, curling softly into the warm light. They hang there a moment, then drift away into the walls, into the village beyond, perhaps even into your own breathing now. Voice softens even more, and as you listen, you might feel that same warmth unfurling inside you. A slow tide of peace rising with each inhale, falling gently with each exhale. The alchemist's room fades from view. The stone walls dissolve into light. All that remains is the sound of wind, and the steady, even rhythm of your breath. Let the world grow dim. Let your thoughts drift like feathers on water. You are safe. You are still. You are golden, just as you are. Before we go on, take a deep breath in. Let it travel down through your chest, your ribs, your stomach, and release it slowly. The air leaving your body feels like warm silk brushing across your skin. You've come so far with this story, followed it from candlelight to moonlight, from gold to grace. Now we arrive together at the soft edge of morning. The alchemist stands by the window. The dawn is quiet. The first rays of sunlight touch the rooftops of the village, turning wet shingles into small mirrors. A few faint sounds drift up from below, a cartwheel turning, the distant cluck of hens, the sleepy murmur of life returning to motion. But inside the chamber, everything is still. The air glows a muted gold, like honey thinned by warmth. It pools around the shelves, the books, the glass vials. Each bottle catches the light and seems to wake, their contents gleaming softly, as if the sun itself were whispering through them. Aurelin breathes deeply. Every inhale tastes of lavender and wood smoke. Every exhale carries peace. He takes up his quill one final time and opens his journal to a fresh page. The parchment glows faintly in the morning light. He dips the quill, lets a single droplet of ink fall plink, and then begins to write. The work is complete, he writes. Not because the world has changed, but because I have learned to rest inside it. The quill moves slower now, not out of weariness, but because every word feels sacred. If gold is the metal of kings, he continues softly, then stillness is the crown of peace. When he finishes, he sets the quill down and closes the book. The sound of parchment meeting leather is so soft, so final, it feels like a sigh. He moves toward the small bed tucked into the corner of the room, a humble frame of oak, a wool blanket neatly folded at its edge. He pulls it open, and the fabric smells faintly of lavender sachets, as if he's been preparing for this moment all along. The morning light rests across his pillow like spun gold. He lies down slowly, hands folded loosely on his chest, eyes still half open, watching the dust motes swirl above him. Each mote dances lazily, illuminated by the soft light. They remind him of stars, those same distant fires he once mapped in ink. He smiles. For a brief, beautiful second, the entire room looks like the inside of a constellation. He exhales, long, even content. And as he does, the golden vial on the windowsill gives a final flicker, a pulse, like a heartbeat. Then it settles, its glow dimming to a gentle, steady warmth. Not gone, just quiet. The village awakens below. Children laugh. A blacksmith's hammer rings faintly in the distance. Bells begin to chime from the small church down the road. Slow, rhythmic tolls, each one rolling through the air like a wave. And yet in this chamber time slows again. The light deepens. The air hums softly. If you listen closely, you might hear it. That faint, melodic hum that lingers in old rooms, a resonance of everything that has ever been peaceful there. It's the sound of the alchemist's heart, still beating, but slower, calmer, as if finally attuned to the rhythm of the world he loved. He is not gone, no, he has simply become the silence. He has dissolved into stillness like sugar melting into tea. And that stillness, that gentle, golden peace, is what now fills the room. Now imagine that same light spilling through your own window. You are lying in your bed, your body heavy and soft, your breath steady. The air is warm, safe, anchored. You can almost smell that same mix of lavender and honey. It wraps around you, a balm for every restless thought. You feel the faint shimmer of gold, not bright, but subtle, a feeling rather than a sight. It spreads through you from your chest to your arms to your fingertips, to the quiet spaces behind your eyes. The alchemist's peace becomes yours. His calm, his understanding, his surrender, all of it flows into you like moonlight pouring into still water. Voice even softer now, half whisper, half lullaby, and perhaps somewhere deep within your mind, a small workshop glows, its shelves lined with glass, its air fragrant with herbs and warmth, a place that belongs only to you, a place you can return to whenever you need to rest. In that place a single candle burns. Its flame is steady, neither bright nor dim, just right. It's light enough to keep you company as you drift into sleep. The alchemist's tools rest untouched, his quill asleep beside the journal. Outside the window, birds begin their soft morning songs. But they are distant, dreamlike, folded into the sound of your own breathing. You can feel your breath deepening again now, slow, steady, like the tide coming to shore. Each breath draws you closer to that gentle border, where waking becomes dream, where the mind stops trying and begins simply being. Let your thoughts blur, let the story fade. You've carried it long enough. Now let it carry you. You are in the alchemist's chamber, but you are also in your own. You are surrounded by peace. Every sound, the soft hum of air, the rhythm of your breath, the weight of your heartbeat, belongs to the same quiet symphony. Barely audible now. Sleep is not the end of the story. It's the continuation, the alchemy of rest, where dreams turn worry into wonder and the mind becomes light again. So let go. Let your body sink. Let your heart slow. You are the gold the alchemist sought. You are the stillness he found. You are already whole. Long pause, then a soft closing whisper, and now the candles are out. The air is warm and golden. The story has done its work. Rest, dear one. Sleep well. The alchemist watches over you still, in every breath, in every dream, in every quiet, shining moment between this world and the next. Good night.